In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Marilith is a large demon classified as an extremely militant Tanari known for their brilliant battlefield tactics and ruthless ability to slay any who stood against them. They're described as having the top half of a female humanoid with 6 arms, and the lower half of a giant green snake. As seasoned warriors, Mariliths typically carried a highly decorated weapon in each of their 6 hands, meant both for show and for dealing damage. The Marilith has an AC of 18 and 189 hit points, with a speed of 40 feet. They have great stats across the board, and saving throws in everything except for dexterity and intellect. They're resistant to cold, fire, lightning, and non-magical weapon damage, and are completely immune to poison damage and the poisoned status. They have true sight and telepathy, making stealth incredibly difficult even with magical aid. They have advantage on saves against magical effects, and their own weapons are considered magical. They also have the trait Reactive, which allows them to take 1 reaction on every turn in combat. On their turn, the Marilith makes a whopping 7 attacks, 6 with its longswords and 1 with its tail. The longswords have a +9 to hit, dealing 2d8 plus 4 slashing, a damage potential of 6 to 20 per hit. The tail has a reach of 10 feet and deals 2d10 plus 4 bludgeoning, a damage potential of 6 to 24. Furthermore, on a hit, the target is grappled and restrained, and the Marilith can then automatically hit that target with another tail attack on their turn. In total, the Marilith's damage potential is 42 to 144. Alternatively, the Marilith can also magically teleport up to 120 feet away to an unoccupied space it can see. They can, of course, take the opportunity attack reaction, but they also have a special reaction called Parry, in which they can add 5 to their AC against 1 melee attack that they can see. Since they get a reaction on every single turn, it's feasible that they can parry every single melee attack that comes their way. As a DM, I would start combat by immediately slithering them over to a healer of the party and unleashing the full 7 strikes against them, hoping that the tail attack hits. Assuming it does, the Marilith will now have the healer grappled with a high escape DC that they're unlikely to break. On their subsequent turns, I would have the Marilith move to target ranged players with their 6 attacks, saving the final one for a free tail attack against the grappled healer. Once the healer is down, I would repeat this strategy with other ranged players. With their parry ability, their high AC, and their resistance to most magical effects and damage, the Marilith can focus on taking down ranged players one by one without worrying about taking too much damage from melee or spellcasters. I would use the teleport ability only if ranged players are keeping too much distance from the Marilith, so that it can instantly appear in front of them and force melee players to dash in order to keep up. In mythology, Mara is a reference to a celestial king who tried to prevent Prince Siddhartha from achieving enlightenment by seducing him with a celestial army and beautiful women who are assumed to be his daughters. More generally in Buddhism and Hinduism, a Mara is a type of demon, described as the personification of the forces antagonistic to enlightenment, and etymologically their name is derived from words and phrases that loosely translate to death, killing, or to cause death. Mara's daughters are often shown as having the upper half of beautiful women and the bottom half of an animal, typically snakes, and are considered both entities existing in the mortal world as monsters, and in the spirit world as malign demons. In Mesopotamian and Jewish mythology, Lilith is the first wife of Adam who refused to serve him and left the Garden of Eden never to return. She is later described as the queen of all demons, the mother of monsters, and a female demonic being by Hebrew texts, while the Mesopotamian references revere and abhor her for her powers and influence over monstrous creatures, and both sources of the Lilith mythos have her associated with serpents. Combining these two mythological monsters, we get the Marilith, a multi-armed half-serpent demon woman who slays all who opposes them. In comparing the Marilith to Mara and Lilith, we find that they have been created by combining myths and taking certain liberties. The Buddhist and Hindu Mara is not a serpent woman. Rather, it's the celestial father to a myriad of monstrous half-woman, half-animal hybrid demons. Meanwhile, the association with serpents has likely been grabbed from the Hebrew interpretation of Lilith. The multiple arms is likely grabbed from other Hindu deities and creatures such as Shiva or Durga, both of whom carry weapons in every hand, just like the demon in D&D. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join the Patreon for $1 a month, link in the description below, to access videos days before they're posted here, as well as other exclusive stuff like short stories, videos, and more. For all of my other content, you can find me on Twitch at Moglaroo, YouTube and TikTok at Moglaroo Streams, or my website, mwjgilmore.com.